In the essence of the eternal divine spirit, the one that causes all that exists, the one that is self-existent.
How many men have children and the children never meet their father? See, you created a void in that child because you are a part of that child.
Black power! Black power! Black power! Black power!
Are you feeling fatigued and can barely make it through the day without some type of caffeine?
Are you on a journey of losing your body but need a little help?
Then alkaline water is what you really need.
Alkaline water has many benefits. Alkaline water can help restore pH balance in the body. Consuming beverages such as soda and coffee can make your body acidic.
Did you know that too much acid in your body has been linked to an inordinate heart disease, obesity, diabetes, autoimmune disease, chronic pain, and other chronic conditions like gout and arthritis?
Those who use alkaline water have reported increased energy levels, clearer skin, reduction in inflammation, better digestion, and many other health benefits. I've used alkaline water for years, and it's been instrumental in sustaining my health when I was diagnosed with sarcoidosis.
Are you ready to take responsibility for your body's?
If the answer is yes, then our alkaline water is just what you need. Bring your own water, $3 for each gallon. To place an order or for more information, you can reach us at 346-39.
Hi, my name is Sister Ebony Stevenson. I am your announcer for today. Welcome to the Toma Nation's weekly Sunday worship service from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. every Sunday at 616 East 71st Street here in Chicago, Illinois, and also live on Facebook. If you would like more information, you can reach us at www.facebook.com/TomaNation2 or give us a call at 773-952-8302. Now I am going to recite our opening. In the name of the eternal divine spirit, the one that causes all that exists to exist, the one that is self-existent, the one who directs the sunships of millions and trillions of years, and the one who made time the seed of the universe, known among the ancient Kemites or Egyptians as Amun-Ra and Aton, among the Hebrews as Ansar, Yahweh, and Elohim, among the Christians as Lord, God, and Jehovah, among the Muslims and Islamic world as Allah, the one God, among the Rastafarians as Jah Rastafari, among the Yoruba tribes of West Africa as Odumare, Eshu, and many other Orisha names. I bear witness that all these names refer to the same one, Almighty Spirit, and it is to that essence which I give reverence and to whom I submit. I boldly proclaim that we, the descendants of those black men and women who survived the transatlantic slave trade, are the Lost 13 tribe, born in North America and are of a Nubian Kemetic lineage. I further proclaim that the blood of all the nations of the earth flows through our veins. I greet you in the ancient but holy words of peace, Hotep, Shalom, Assalamu alaikum, Habaragani, Alafia, and Ashe. Now I'm going to recite the 13 points of what we believe and know. Number 1. We believe and know that we are not to repeat the mistakes of the past prophets and messengers of the Almighty Creator of the heavens and earth. Number 2. We believe and know that we can only establish an economic base through the application of the knowledge of self and the incorporation of the ideologies of the Honorable Marcus Garvey, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Mahatma Gandhi, and Ben Ami. Number 3. We believe and know that the prophets and messengers of the Holy Bible, the Holy Quran, and the Kemetic Holy Books were all black. Number 4. We believe and know that Jesus Christ of 2,000 years was and is a black man. Number 5. We believe and know that the knowledge of the Almighty Creator goes beyond books written by the prophets and messengers of the Almighty Creator. Number 6. We believe and know that in order to promote and coordinate unity, we must first recognize and accept the uniqueness of being able to worship our Creator, regardless of religious denomination, name, title, ritual, particular dress, or holy book, as long as it recognizes the Almighty Creator of the heavens, earth, and the universe as supreme. Number 7. We believe and know that it is impossible to tell the truth without exposing the wicked governments of the world. Number 8. We believe and know that the United States government, in collaboration with other European nations, have a denial objective to exterminate dark-skinned people of color off the earth through the act of genocide. Number 9. We believe and know that some of the most effective methods that are being used today are AIDS, birth control, alcohol and drug abuse, vaccinations, gang and domestic violence, systematic elimination of trauma centers, the public school system, and public aid within the Black communities of America and the world. Number 10. We believe and know that the last trick that Satan is playing on us is the dividing of us by our religious differences, religious gangbanging. Number 11. We believe and know that the conflict between the various religions are comparable to the conflict between various street gangs within the inner cities of America. Number 12. We believe and know that the war on drugs and gangs is a diabolical plot to disarm the Black community of weapons, break up the Black family, withdraw our constitutional rights, also kill and incarcerate young Black males under the undercover code name Able 2029. And number 13, we believe and know that every letter, shape, sound, and numerical value contains esoteric information that completely transcends the specific contextual meaning of the word. Our purpose: to bring about the growth of a righteous community in accordance with the laws of the Creator of the universe, under the leadership and guidance of Brother Minister Hakim Aton, to provide solutions to the social and economic ills that plague the communities of urban America. Our goal: to re-educate and retrain youth and young adults to develop positive moral values as an alternative to delinquent behaviors, because you can't rebuild a community and not rebuild the minds of the residents of the community to meet the responsibilities of maintaining the community's image. Our mission: to enhance the economic development of our communities by establishing businesses, real and personal properties, thereby creating jobs and/or entrepreneurship training programs that will reverse the concept of leaving the community to buying back the community. Our motto: let your light so shine before men that they shall see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. Matthew 5:16. Now we're going to recite our salute to the red, black, and green flag. Everyone put your right fist in the air and repeat after me. Here's to this flag of mine, the red, black, and green. Hopes in its future bright, Africa has seen. Here's to the red of it, great nations shall know of it. In time to come, red blood shall flow of it, historians shall write of it. this flag of mine. Here's to the black of it, 400 million's back of it, whose destiny depends on it. The red, black, and green of it, oh flag of mine. Here's to the green of it. Young men and women shall dream of it, face shots and shells for it. Maidens shall sing of it, waving so high. Here's to the whole of it, colors bright and pole of it. Pleased is my soul with it, regardless of what is told of it. Thanks to God for giving it, this great flag of mine. Please keep your right fist raised high in the air as we sing our Black National Anthem. Black power, black power, black power. Black power is the power to define, develop, and defend that which is in the best interest of Black people.
Hi, welcome to our Aton Nation's weekly Sunday worship service. That is worship, WARSHIP. We are an all-inclusive, Black conscious, righteous movement located right here in Chicago, Illinois at 616 East 71st Street. The first person we're going to welcome today is our leader, teacher, and God, Minister Hakim. If I can have everyone stand to their feet and give a round of applause for our founder. Original salute, Black power. Original salute, Black power. Original salute, Black power. As you were.
In the name of the everlasting Father, the eternal divine Spirit, he that causes all that exists to exist, he that is self-existent, he who directs the sunships of millions and trillions of years, he who made time the seat of the universe. It's known among the ancient Kemites or Egyptians as Amun-Ra and Aton. Among the Christians as Lord, God, and Jehovah. Among the Hebrews as Ansof, Yahweh, Elohim. Among the Christians as Lord, God, and Jehovah. Among the Rastafarians as Jah, Rastafari. Among the Yoruba tribe as Olodumare, Obatala, and many other Orisha gods. But I bear witness that all of those names refer to the same one. Almighty God, Creator, Almighty, Almighty, the Eternal, the Divine, the Omnipotent. And it is to that essence whom I give reverence and to whom I submit. I boldly proclaim that we are the children of those Black men and women who survived the transatlantic slave trade. We are that lost 13 tribe, born here in North America. And we are of a Nubian Kemetic lineage. I further proclaim that the blood of all the nations of the world flow through our veins. I greet you all in the ancient but yet holy words of peace in the languages of our fathers, of Hotep, Shalom, Assalamu alaikum, Habaragani, Alafia, Ashe. All greeting words and salutations of peace in the many different languages of our fathers. I greet you all in peace. Welcome, welcome to the Toma Nation Warship Service. That's WARSHIP. I am Brother Minister Raheem Kased Aton, founder of this great movement, along with co-founder Minister Omari Jahi Aton and the First Lady of Toma, Sister Makita Aisha Aton. Today we have a great message coming to you. I'm going to hold your attention for 15 minutes, and then I'm going to bring up the main speaker for today, which happens to be none other than our very own Minister Yashua, Hakim Aton. So hold on to your seats and don't start up your engine, but your engine will be started before the day is over. Prayerfully that you can get a weighty word to help you understand what a nationalist movement means and why it's needed, and why you hear words coming from us, from Toma, such as resistance or defiant or anything on that level, because we know that nothing really came about that made a significant change until there was some resistance. It never happened by conformity. And today, if you would just go back in your mind's eye and just look around and see how many times when some of our brothers and sisters were defiant, how change was made. But then come back to today and see if we are truly fighting a fight still to gain our freedom, not to gain some of the crumbs that fell from the rich man's table. That's not our freedom. That's still keeping us in a beggar's position. That still keeps us in his house looking around in his refrigerator. Understand what I'm saying? When our freedom is our house, our freedom is our rooms and our refrigerators and our car and something that's ours, that after we get back what they stole from us, we can take it and then we can trade on the same footing. But usually what happens to us, I'm talking Black people, usually what happens to us is that when we do something that this government don't like, then they want to label us Black identity extremists because we identify with Black, so that's in the extreme. Or they want to call us urban terrorists. See, urban terrorists. And the real deal is that, you know, in the word terrorist is the word territory, you know. And so how can you be a terrorist trying to take back your neighborhood? No, the terrorist is the one taking your neighborhood. Y'all got to really look at what they're telling us and really knowing exactly when it comes to Black people, what it means to us. And that's the thing. And the subject for today is one man's freedom fighter is another man's terrorist. And that is true. It is 100% true. The only way it won't be true if you remove the word terrorist. Because another thing about that word, when they use it, they're saying that somebody is being terrified. Terrified is really on a high level. You know, that's a little bit more than fear. That's terrible. That's terrorist. That is terror. That's fear at its highest level. So the one that named you that is the victim. That's what they're trying to tell you. Y'all catching where I'm going? Mm-hmm. The one who named you a terrorist is telling the people that you're doing something terrible to them or against them. And so, you know, let's go back a little bit. I can share with you all what I really mean. A long time ago, this government, and you know I'm going to talk about this government because that's one of our points of what we believe in know. That you can't tell the truth without exposing the wicked governments of the world. They had a man running around all over Afghanistan called Osama bin Laden. Running all over the place. They couldn't catch this man. Now you tell me if any of this makes sense to you, okay? This man was on kidney dialysis, but they was looking for him in a cave. They was going looking for him. This is what they say now. So they start bombing caves in Afghanistan. But he must be a real quick mover, or they must got some manual dialysis machines, because he seemed to get up out of there and make it to another cave and set up. You know, how is he taking his dialysis unless it's with him in the cave? Do they have a carrying case now for some sort of machine we don't know nothing about? Then we come to find out that they named them terrorists, but yet the Bush family, we come to find out when you dig deep and go to the root, the Bush family and the bin Laden family were friends. The whole family, the mother, the father, and their children were raised together with each other. So why would they put this man out as a terrorist? All right. Now let's look at it. This government used him and told him, matter of fact, he was being paid to stay a step ahead of them. And they were actually telling him what their next step was going to be so that he could be gone. Now, today they're trying to say they caught him. Now, watch this other lie. They caught him, but they have no evidence. Why don't they have any evidence that they caught him? They said that they threw him in the water. We take that lock, stock, and barrel, don't we? We threw him in, a man that bad, terrorizing the whole world, and you couldn't keep him long enough so that we can see for sure? See, so he's not a good example of being a terrorist or a freedom fighter because he was working for the United States of America. Now, I'll tell you where he's at. He's with his mother and father living happily ever after he done his job. Now, let's go to somebody who they said was a terrorist, all right, that supposedly struck terror in their minds, in the white man's mind. A guy they call Muammar Gaddafi. All right. So there was a nationalist movement back years ago. Y'all know the movement I'm talking about, the Nation of Islam. This man, Muammar Gaddafi, began to fund the Nation of Islam with millions of dollars from Libya. He was the president of Libya. And because the United States government considered the Nation of Islam a terrorist group, then they looked at Gaddafi funding Elijah. Oh, now America is terrified because there's a group of people who are defiant against all the stuff that they set up. The first area of defiance was what? We're going to attack your religion, Christianity, and we're going to beat it down, and we're going to say it ain't no good. We're going to say, yo, Jesus ain't the right, Jesus, yo, ain't none of that it. And now you're messing up because you're messing with the religion. Then they said, not only are we attacking your religion, we want our own stuff. We want our own grocery store. We want our own this and that. We don't want nothing you got. Just get out of our way. We want to be independent. A nigger wanting to be independent? That's unheard of. Y'all ain't hearing me. Because a lot of y'all out there think Rick Ross and all them is independent. If you look closer, they wearing Depends because they dependent on this government. I'm just telling you the truth. I'm telling the truth. I know what I'm saying. Look closer. They look like they're independent. There's not 1 million, the most independent person, black, with money on this planet right now is Kanye West. The most independent. And they are not going to sleep until they remove him. He would be their terrorist right now. But to me, he's our freedom fighter. Well, he just got married again, got another white wife. Well, hell, let's look back in our past at some of our people who fought for us with white wives. Y'all didn't know that, did you? Attorney Thomas Todd, that's one. Our attorney, yeah, the great man that y'all see all the time, yeah, white wife. Yeah, white. Let's look at, I'm trying to remember all of them, there's a few of them. A lot of artists got white wives. A lot of our freedom fighters in the past, I'm trying to remember their names, but y'all can look them up. White wives. A lot of these people that are Black historians among us, they got books out. White wives. They dead now. White wives. See, so you cannot, and I'm going to say this, you cannot be 100% Black conscious with a white wife. You can't. You can talk it, you know, but you really can't do it like you want to because, you know, if you don't have the actual comforter that God gave you, the actual one, that means one of your own race that look like you, all right? If you don't have that one, then what you got is a copycat in your house, acting as if she's comforting you. She don't even know how. She don't know how. And she cannot help you. Look, she's sitting on the side hearing you talking about them. She calling her brother, telling him everything. And he telling somebody else. And so they got you already marked, following you and everything. Because you think she in love with you. The white woman don't even know how to love. The white man don't know how to love. I know y'all don't believe that. Y'all think I'm being racist again. All you got to do is look at genetics. I'm talking about a people who are doing their job and looking at us and saying, why ain't we? What was their job? What is their job? I got 3 more minutes. What is their job? The white man's job is to give us hell from the cradle to the grave. The white man's job is to keep us back. The white man's job is to keep his thumb on us and until we say we give. The white man's job is to keep the Black man and woman from taking over. Oh, man, she just talking. Yeah. Yeah. In the 33rd degree, they make sure they tell they white Shriners that this Black man, he is the true original person on the planet before all of us. Right now, he's asleep. But we can't allow him to wake up because if he wakes up, he'll take over. See, now, if somebody truly protested and went up against the NRA, National Rifle Association, if somebody truly began to protest and go up against the Fraternal Order of Police and the police union and really, really, really went against them and became defiant, you'll really see the white man in his true colors. See? But right now, the biggest fight that you see on the internet, on social media, is fighting for some doggone cannabis licenses. How the hell that's going to help Black people? You ain't helping Black people trying to get a cannabis license. We was already smoking weed, fool. Come on, tell the truth, shame the devil. We smoking weed, it was just illegal. Now it's legal, so they just keep smoking. They didn't stop. What kind of sense is that? That's just like the people when alcohol became legal. The alcohol became legal, my God. Kill you, baby. Yes, sir. Yeah, like alcohol became legal, right? That didn't mean that everybody was free. That means that now they can continue drinking, but they can drink in the public now. They can sell it in the public now. So why is it that we're calling ourselves fighting for a freedom, and the biggest thing on social media is a bunch of niggas fighting for a damn cannabis license? That's the biggest thing on the set. Go look through Facebook and everything. Now show me some more black people fighting for the real deal right now. You don't see it. I don't see it. We say no more getting behind leaders. We're supposed to stand with them. Well, my question is, where are the leaders now? And I'm talking about the real ones. Because if you're not being defiant, if you're not resisting what's going on, then you're going along to get along. Let's tell it like it really is. Because it's going to upset something. You know, one of the old sayings, y'all tell me how long I got. One of the old sayings, upset the apple cart. Y'all ever see how apples are stacked up in the cart? All just on top of each other and all. You turn that over, apples go everywhere. All over the place. Well, what are we saying? We saying that this government is still going on business as usual right now. No matter what we say, they doing whatever it is they want to do. Yeah, we got an almighty God that's bringing the rain, that's bringing the wind, that's bringing all that. But doggone, that was happening during the days of Moses. But Moses wasn't laying down sleep while that was going on, was he? Or was he somewhere right there with it? He was there interpreting. Yeah, that's my God doing that. You gonna let our people go or what? Standing there in his face. Where are we? I'm about to go crazy up here. I better sit down now. That's just a good question. That's just a good question. I'm saying we've fallen back to sleep. We're just accepting things as it is. We don't want to agitate nothing. Years ago, there was a washing machine that they had made, and all it did was do this like it was doing the twist all day. And it was washing your clothes. And they called it an agitator that was in there that was making the clothes be clean. It's agitating. Where are the agitators? You want to clean up the community? Agitate. Where are they? Ain't nobody agitating nothing. The only thing you agitate is your legs rubbing together. Sorry. I know that hurts. Yeah, ouch. Look, I'm not the speaker today. I'm not the speaker today. You are supposed to be hearing from Brother Minister Yashua, Hakim Aton. He's talking about one man's freedom fighter is another man's terrorist. And I'm on the side of the terrorists. Let's have to let you know. Because if we're doing anything to terrify that enemy, that means we done slowed him down on his march toward getting rid of us. And if we can stop him for a moment so that they have to go back to the drawing board to say, oh man, like they had to do in that term. You know, we got it back to the drawing board. What are we gonna do? Every time they go back to the drawing board, that slows them down. But when they got free reign throughout our community, all right, to drop off guns and walk away and watch us kill each other, to raise prices that really ain't gonna affect no millionaires and billionaires, but it's gonna affect us down here. Somebody talking about eggs is $5 or $6 or $7. Niggas, all y'all need to be vegetarians. We'll survive. See, we ain't, they got us. Wake up. I want the real leaders to come back together so we can agitate. And we got to do it together because, see, you're not a threat by yourself. If you walking around and they see ain't nobody listening to you, they be like, look at they don't even look at you no more. They don't get male or female, telling all the truth in the world, all on TikTok, telling all kind of truth. Ain't nobody following you, ain't nobody listening to you. So you ain't no threat. They told you in COINTELPRO. I call it COINTEXPRO now because they putting it in your text. No, I don't say tell. The way they tell now is text. So now they said something about a black Messiah. They said something like, we have to stop the rise of a black Messiah. Now they throw Christians off because all they're saying is someone anointed with a mission from on high, anointed with a certain particular assignment that don't allow them to relax and just go off in life looking for a nice home and a nice car and raise a beautiful family and call it a day. No, not when you're the Messiah. And see, Messiah is plural. It's not singular. Christ is plural. It's not singular. It started off because it had to start from a single, but then it expanded and it multiplied. Everything multiplies, whether it's good or bad. And so you got to understand that Christ is plural today. The Messiah is plural today. It's not one Messiah. When you see a fool come up and say, I'm the Messiah, run fast as you can. Get up out of there. I'm the messenger of God. Run. I am a messenger, a Messiah, but not the. Thank you for listening to me. I'm going to bring up Brother Yashua, Hakim, Aton to continue on that subject. One man's freedom fighter is another man's terrorist. Please put your hands together and welcome Mr. Yashua, Hakim, Aton.
Left it hot. In the name of the everlasting Father, he that causes all that exists to exist, he that is self-existent, he who directs the sunships of millions and trillions of years, and he who's made time the seed of the universe, known among the ancient Kemites or the indigenous people of Africa as Amon-Ra and Aton, among the Hebrews is Ansaf, Yahweh, and Elohim, among the Christians is Lord God and Jehovah, among the Muslim and the Islamic world is Allah, the one God. I bear witness that all of these names refer to the same one, Almighty God, and it is to him whom I give reverence and to whom I submit. I greet you, my brothers and sisters, in the ancient but holy words of peace, which are Hotep, Shalom, Assalamu alaikum, Abaragani, and Alafia. All the greetings and salutations in various languages and religions that we happen to find our people here in the hills of North America involved in. And if you're a humble servant from old 79th Street like me, I just say, what's up? What's up? The title of my lecture today is One Man's Freedom Fighter is Another Man's Terrorist. And the main reason why I chose this title is because anytime you get those that look like us begin to unveil some truth about what's going on with our people, we act like as if we're supposed to reveal this truth and not talk about what's causing the truth or what's causing the challenges in our community. It's almost like telling our children how racism used to be, and we're not going to talk about the European. We could figure out a way to tell what used to be and don't tell about their involvement in it. All the controversy behind Kanye West, the controversy behind Kyrie Irving, and not even for speaking the truth, just tweeting about a documentary about us being the original Hebrew. Kanye coming out because he reached the glass ceiling of racism. And if we don't understand what racism is, I want to help you understand today what it really is. Racism is based on the basic thought of God is white. And as long as God is white, he's given us, the European, the sandbox people, the icebox people, the inalienable right to rule over all other races of people. That is their creed. That is how Europeans are raised to believe and think that that's what their job here on earth is, that God has given them the inalienable right. and that God certainly can't be a Negro, because the Negro is foul. He's nasty. All he thinks about is sex all day long. All he thinks about is murder all day long. Certainly God can't be a Negro. And y'all don't think that the Europeans that y'all associate with think like this, but that's how they are raised. So anytime conscious thought comes into the mind of a melanated person, it's automatically going to make you their terrorist. Just your very nature makes you their terrorist. We multiply at a rate 18 times faster than a group of people who are now at negative population growth. So just your very existence, whether you conscious or unconscious, you are a threat to their survival. You are a threat to them being existing on the very planet that we live on. So there has to be a diabolical plot against us for them to survive. Lest we multiply, they got to get rid of us. There was a program they put out called Global 2029. And the objection of this program was to eliminate 2.4 billion people of color off the earth through the act of genocide. How are they going to accomplish this? Well, they gave old Planned Parenthood the free reign in our communities to tell our children it's okay not to talk to your parents. If you get pregnant, you could abort babies. So Kanye got in trouble for saying Planned Parenthood exterminated 30 million babies. And everybody jumped on Kanye, called him crazy, said he missing his mama, he ain't taking his medication. And the fact that he just said 30 million babies was just aborted, it went over everybody's head. Nobody wanted to address that. That's 30 million deaths. Let 30 million Jews be exterminated in a year. Let just one of them be exterminated. Netanyahu said the fingernail of a Jew was more important than any Palestinian occupying the land in Israel when they were taking it back. So 30 million, and we don't have nothing to say about that. Not to mention the birth control and what it does to our women. Not to mention the alcohol and how many of us die of alcohol. Alcohol is the #1 leading cause of death in the Black community. Why do you say that, brother minister? Because alcohol is the gateway to every other drug in the community. It is the gateway to crime. 87% of crimes are done under the influence of alcohol. 89% of murders are committed under the influence of alcohol. There are laws on the book that regulate how alcohol is to be distributed in communities, and one of them says that a liquor store should not be more than 500, should not be within, 500 feet of a school, a park, or a church. Now just go in your mind's eye and drive down Halston and tell me that in a daycare right next door to the Wine and Spirit on 74th. Drive down a little bit further when you get to 84th and Halston. Tell me that's not a daycare directly across the street from the other Wine and Spirit. It is impossible with our demographics of our community. Impossible to be anywhere in our community and be more than 500 feet away from a church, a school, or a park. Same laws govern the sex offenders in our community. They're not supposed to be within 500 feet of a park, a school, or a church. It's impossible. You can't go 500 feet in our community and don't find one of those entities. Impossible. But yet when we discover what's really going on and we get to the root of what's going on and we understand what's really going on in our community, all of a sudden we become this terrorist. Well, yeah, we're going to be a terrorist. Minister just demonstrated the root word of terrorist is territory. God made us extra territory. We ET. So we come from the earth. The earth is made after our likeness and our image. The earth is called mother. The mother, the cradle of civilization. And Minister just alluded to who is the first and original man to step foot in the light of the sun and walk on this planet earth trillions and trillions of years ago. It's us. So every time we've had a freedom fighter, They wanted to make us a terrorist. All the way from General Idi Amin all the way up to Dr. Martin Luther King. And you might think that they're different, but they're not. But I like to talk about General Idi Amin for a minute. He was the former president of Uganda, a military officer, and a politician. And a part of his theology that I want to expound on, and him trying to get his people from out of the oppression of Scotland's oppression that they had over Uganda, which that's them icebox people over there. His community looked just like ours. It was 93% unemployment. Inflation was at an all-time high. Crime, violence, rampant in Uganda. And Idi Amin said, being the former boxer that he also was a boxer, he said that the highest form of war was economics. A lot of us have a different measure about what economics is, but economics, in his opinion, was the market share and consumption of his people. Because he knew there were things that we're going to spend our money on regardless. The necessities, the toilet paper, the toothpaste, the soap. What are we going to consume? The food. So when we talk about taking our culture back, I said last time when I spoke, the number one culture we got to take back is our agriculture. Agriculture is one of the only and few industries that can employ our entire race of people. Nobody would be unemployed if we dealt with agriculture correctly, with all that it entails. So his strategy was to run the Arabs out of his country. He had a good strategy. I think we should use that strategy today. He told them, you got 6 months to vacate. He ain't asking for no zakat. He ain't try to go shake them down for no money to give out toys and charity and turkeys and hams in Inglewood. He didn't shake them down to put a whole bunch of furniture on 67th and Halsted and pass it out to the community and stand out there and stick your chest out talking about how bringing the city out to what? Beg? To take crumbs from the rich man's table? No, he talked about the industry in his country. He said, you got 6 months to get out of town before sundown. And midway through them 6 months, he started digging graves because they thought he was playing. I know some of y'all don't like this kind of talk, but he started preparing their graves because what was going to come next if they hadn't left in them 6 months, they wasn't going to like. But he successfully got the Arabs out of his country. And what did that do to the economy? It made it worse at first. Because now, anytime you go into business and you start to do international trade and you start to get into the economy, you find out that industries are controlled by other races of people. And if you want to trade and be in that industry, you got to succumb to those people. So many of his people was upset because they were already being taxed. Inflation was already high. Now, because he had to go meet with other Europeans and other nations to get the goods and services to come into his community, it cost more. Because he didn't have any buying power at the time. Because the country was broke. They didn't have no resources. So he had to make deals. He had to set up trade. He had to give human capital to receive the other kind of capital that we needed in our country. It's the same thing. Our greatest commodity is our human capital. It's not these green dollars that we go to work for every day, that we killing for every day, that we riding up on somebody trying to take them out of their car so that we can go take the parts and sell it to get these little green things with white people faces on them. That's not our greatest commodity. Our greatest commodity is our human capital. That means there's more of us on the planet than any other race on the planet. Regardless of whatever we might call ourselves, and we just looked at ourselves in the same way that our ancestors looked at them and said, pale face. He didn't let them fool him. Oh, I'm England. No, I'm Italian. No, you pale face. We need to look in the mirror at ourselves and say, melanated. Is that the proper term, brother? Is that better? We melanated. If you got one drop of melanated in you, you one of us. Plain and simple. Now we can distinguish our flight and our freedom from those that come against us. But what he did was, as they began to manufacture and not have to go outside of the country, the goods and services that they need, now they began to create the jobs that they needed. Because whether you are realizing or not, income and money is nothing but another term for revenue. And you need revenue to come into your community, into your church, into your household in order for you to survive. So revenue, based on the amount of money that a community spends, when you do your evaluation on a community, it's not based on how much the house costs, how much the land is, if it's a good school in the community. It's no, how many residents do we have in this community? That's going to give you the fair market value of a community. How many residents? That's how they look at us. It's 57,000 residents in Inglewood. That's 57,000 people going to buy laundry detergent, soap, this. And so every other nationality run into our community to distribute those goods and services to us because they represent revenue that we don't want to take advantage of. Because of our education. I'm a PhD. I got a master's degree. I'm above that. Minister Yashua, you should be ashamed of yourself. Your children are much brighter than that. Why you got them on corners selling soap and toilet paper? They should be in school somewhere. They should be getting a degree. Why ain't your son going to the white man's college? Because he said he didn't want to. You're not going to make him go? No. Why not, brother minister? Because the degree ain't worth the paper that it's wrote on. I'm just going to be honest. Because that degree and that paper represent a certain amount of income in the end. And I know for us as European, as melanated people rather, it's only going to mean so much. The average black man in America only make $105 a day. Y'all hear me? That's 86% of us make $105 a day. That come out to about $41,500. And that's before taxes. Do y'all see the condition that we in? I was making that at 9. Going to the Forest Preserve, blowing up balloons, SpongeBob and Spider-Man and Batman, running around to the picnic sites and the church picnics and family reunions and running up to the kids shaking balloons. And that was in 1979. We talking about 2023. And we still making $105 a day. And the average woman is only making 89. I say average. So I know some of us do. And we like to think that, oh, that don't apply to me and my friends, but your friends fooling you. You can't judge a person based on what kind of car they drive, what neighborhood they live in, what house they live in. That don't determine your wealth. That don't determine the amount of revenue that you got coming in. The majority of us are living upside down, way above our means. The majority of us got so much student loan debt, we'll never pay it off. Never. And I'm not against student loan debt, but I'm saying, man, if you're going to get a degree, at least get a real degree. Science, engineering, technology, math. Why is it that 89% of our degrees are in humanities? And a humanities degree pays $28,000 a year.
Feel good nonsense.
And people at Amazon make more than that. But that's 82% of our degrees. So I know we getting our degrees on, y'all, and we come out and we go to school with a little consciousness, and we come out of college and now we're Greek. I don't understand it. You went in Nation of Islam, but you come out. You went in. You was raised. Your mom and daddy took you to the temple every day. You was Islam, Prophet Noble True Ali. Now you come out, you Alpha, you Kappa. I mean, how did you go to school conscious and come out Greek? How was you over the Black Studies department at the school, but you wind up being Greek? As if we don't understand the history of the freaks. I mean, Greeks. How did everybody come out that? And then we come out, and you're more beholden to that fraternity, that sorority, that girls club, that boys club, than you are your damn community. Boy, when we start loving our community like they love their frats, the community will change. If the community was all Omega and you messing with one of my dogs, oh man, we coming together to deal with that. But everybody got their kit and their kin that they'll die for, they'll ride for, they'll slap for. They don't care what's going on. We taking this 20 years, 30 years, whatever it is. You done disrespected grandmama. You done killed the baby. No, you got to be dealt with. We ain't calling no police. But where's that happening in our community now? Our women and children just out here feeding for themselves. Got little puppies in the house barking, supposed to scare somebody off. Got Corsos and pit bulls and all these big old doggone dogs in cages, hoping that when you come through the door, the dog can get out the cage and get somebody. Armed to the teeth. Every kind of gun you could think of. One in the front room, one upstairs, almost like they the trap house or something. Trying to survive because ain't no man in the home. Because there's no real men in the community that want to be of any type of affair to the community and want to be accountable and responsible. The Honorable Marcus Garvey gave us the blueprint. Ken Bridges gave us the blueprint, an alternative channel of distribution. We got to start taking back the market share of our community, y'all. Understand this. Numbers don't lie. People do. When we came to this country out of the ships, and even though there was some of us that was already here, we only own less than 1/4 of 1% of the country's goods and services. You know why? Because we represented the goods and we represented the services. Today, fast forward 2023, we done had a President Obama, we done had a Condoleezza Rice, we done had everything you can think of since then, but yet and still, 20-some thousand elected officials, all in Congress, all in the Senate, all over everywhere, all throughout the United States, the governor in Detroit, the governor in Atlanta, but yet and still, we still own less than 1/4 of a percent of the goods and services. But yet, it's 40 million of us.
The figures don't lie. The lies do figures.
Say that again. I like that. I'm going to put that on a t-shirt.
I'll get your percentage.
The numbers, they don't lie. But we've been tricked into believing in consuming instead of prosuming. And what's the root word of consume? Con. You've been conned. Malcolm X said you've been hoodwinked, bamboozled, set up, run them up, run astray. They didn't trick us. The whole ideal is to prosume. Every nationality own an industry. That's what Kanye figured out. Y'all want to know what the real problem was? They thought they had a nigga. And see, a nigga, you tell him, hey, I'm going to give you $1 billion. A nigga going to stick his chest out and be like, yeah. Because y'all know he was only at 200 million when they made the deal. And before he was at 200 million, he was only at 10. And Kim loaned him 50, and he turned the 50 that Kim loaned him into 200-300 million. So now he's sitting at the table with the sandbox people and the icebox people negotiating a deal, and they threw $1 billion on the table, and they thought they had a Negro. A Negro would have been like, yeah, I made it. But they didn't have no Negro. They got a special kind of somebody. Born in Chicago, come up on 79th Street. He don't call himself the Khan no more. He say, I'm yea. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I should fear no man. So he got on TV and said, yeah, they offered me a little bit. And the rest of the Negroes sat around the table and said, what you say, Kanye? He said, yeah, they offered me a little bit. He said, what's a little bit? $1 billion. And they all looked. He said, yeah, niggas that ain't got $1 billion walk around with a bunch of gold chains on their neck. When you become a billionaire, you put that stuff up. You start thinking differently. See, he didn't start hanging around other billionaires and seeing how they see this world, and not to mention that they don't mention, he got a father. Did y'all know that man's father is an engineer and a scientist? And all this talk about building ecosystems and all this other stuff came from his father. Y'all thought he just had a mama. And his mama left him and he was just crazy and then had nobody to talk to. Lies. So now he's talking about building ecosystems. And the problem was, Kanye said, look, I'm from Chi-Town, man. I'm from Chicago. I need the young brothers and sisters that I represent that's out here buying my stuff, buying my shoes, to be able to learn how to manufacture the Yeezys. So put me a manufacturing plant in Chicago and put me one in Atlanta. Them sandbox people said, no, bruh, we gonna make your shoes. We got you. You just deal with the distribution and all the rest of the stuff, and we got this. And they didn't do what they were supposed to do in the contract, and he got upset because he wanted black children from inner cities to learn how to manufacture gym shoes. I want the plant in Chicago, and I want one in Atlanta. And they refused to give him 2 little bitty manufacturing plants. Out of all the business that he did with them, even though they was about to go out of business, our culture seems to always save these people. The first time they was going out of business, I think it was Run DMC that brought them back from going bankruptcy because they started making songs about my Adidas and wearing them in our culture. So now we ran to the store to be like Run DMC wearing Adidas, and we saved them from bankruptcy because we don't realize that we the real prize. So now he want to manufacture his own shoes and give them at an affordable rate. And I'm going to tell you something. Man, I took the children to Great America with the school. I was a chaperone. And we walked around Great America. And man, when I tell you, it was amazing. Everybody that looked like us had on a pair of Jordans. Everybody. Us and the brown folk all had on Jordans. Every other nationality had on them damn Yeezys. I didn't know he made that many kind of shoes. I'm talking about, it was a group of little Polish kids. They were soccer players. Everybody had on Yeezys. It was another group of somebody else's ethnicity. They all had on Yeezys. I'm talking about, I say, man, how did he get everybody else to buy his shoe and but us, and he become a billionaire like that? I say, that's a smart businessman. Until I put on a pair of them shoes and I figured out, wait a minute, they're actually good for your feet. They just look ugly as all outdoors. But you can stand on your feet in these jokers and back stop hurting. Knees ain't buckling now. You can stand up for a while. But he realized that there was other industries that don't want us becoming their competition. They don't want us manufacturing no clothes. They just want our name on it. They don't want us manufacturing no alcohol. They just want our name on it. Rose, P. Diddy, and all the rest of them. The minister was right. If you look close, they dependent. Master P ain't manufacturing the chips. He just putting our face on the bag. It's a start. So you're supposed to infiltrate. Yeah, Master P, make the deal. Give the guys a 50-50 deal so they get 50% of the profit through the Rap Snacks Foundation. That's a beautiful measure. But at some point, you're going to have to buy the machines, the bags, the printers, the chips, because y'all got the recipe because you didn't sold it to them. And y'all got to manufacture our own chips where we get 100% of the profit. Like Michael Jackson was trying to do, 100% of the profit. He built a $100 million studio in Vegas to make CDs and DVDs from scratch so he can put out his own albums, his own videos. He don't have to go to them. Forget y'all. I don't care about winning no Grammys and stuff no more. When I go on world tour, this time when I sell 40 million, instead of making $1.50 per sale, I'm going to get the whole thing because I'm going to make it from scratch. He scared them folks so bad, man, they got rid of CDs and DVDs and had to go to streaming services and internet and some other way to get us not to be able to get control of our information. So we got to go to that route. We got to go to that point. And they called him a terrorist. They called him a child molester. Soon as Dr. King said we're going to change the measure for civil rights and human rights and start dealing with economic and political empowerment, all of a sudden he was gone. But the special thing about Dr. King was the files read that they believed that Dr. King was the second coming of Christ. that he was the black Messiah in our midst, sent here to save us and redeem us from this people. Because Dr. King had already proven to us everything that the most honorable Elijah Muhammad told us about the white man being the devil. Y'all didn't want to believe him. But then Dr. King showed us what only a devil would sick water hoses and sick dogs and things on innocent women and children at peaceful protests and put water hoses on them and let the dogs bite them and do what they did down in Selma. They down there celebrating this weekend right now, the march on the Selma Bridge when they ran over all of us and beat us up and threw us all in jail. And they still celebrating that. Only a devil would do something like that. The most honorable Elijah Muhammad said that once our people get to the point of 100% dissatisfaction, only then will we be able to make a change. And if you wasn't 100% dissatisfied with all the things that Dr. King did with these people to try to get us to work on an equal footing and get them to see us in the light that we saw ourselves in, we'd have been all right. But once he learned what I told us at the beginning, that their philosophy was that God was white. And as long as God was white, they had the inalienable right to rule over all other races of people. Once he figured that one out, he wept like Jesus and said, I think I integrated my people into a burning house. And he had to go. Malcolm had to go. Marcus had to go. But like Chairman Fred Hampton said, you can kill a revolutionary, but you can't kill the revolution. And so we thank God that these men came before us and that not only did they make an impact, but they left a blueprint for us to follow. I want to read a poem that was wrote in honor of one of our ancestors, Brother Ken Bridges, who we never got a chance to meet, but we were a part of his organization called Mata. Mata was an alternative channel of distribution. It was a people, it was a movement, and a business that solely focused on the consumption spending in our communities. And he did the numbers based on what we were already consuming in our communities. And he discovered that the number one thing that we spent money on in our community was laundry detergent. And that 80% of the money that we spent on laundry detergent, we spent it with Tide. And so after doing that research, he discovered, he said, man, we spent about $589 million a year with Tide. If we could just redirect 10% of that to us, it will give us critical mass to have our own alternative channel distribution where everything else that we create, we'll be able to instantly make money off of because we'll have enough dedicated customers and enough dedicated people that weren't just customers, but they were a part of the movement and understood that we had to have a race-first philosophy in order to create jobs for our children. And the number and the critical mass was only at 100,000 out of 589 million. And we got close to that number. But then he went out and did something even more dangerous. He went out and secured a deal with one of the African cultures to distribute a topical pain reliever called Grenada nutmeg oil. Grenada nutmeg oil, y'all look it up. It's a topical pain reliever that relieves your pain naturally. Most of the pain relief we get comes through a parent company of Bayer Aspirin, which was the same company that sold poison to Hitler when he did what he did to the Jews. That's your number one distributor of pain medicine in our community. It comes from a parent company. I don't remember the exact name, but it's a Bayer Aspirin, or the Bayer Company. And the Bayer Company sold cyanide poison to Hitler. But that's who we're using in America.
What's it called again?
It's the parent company of Bayer.
No, the Grenada.
Grenada nutmeg oil. So the Jews who want to use their bully pulpit, call the media to every time somebody say something crazy about them, they want to go counsel them. Why don't y'all go counsel Bayer Company? Why don't y'all go cancel out the Catholics who had a hand in your demise? Why don't y'all go cancel out everybody else and stop trying to cancel black people who ain't never did nothing to you, who ain't never had no power to do nothing to your race, and who've only supported your behind unknowingly, until we started figuring out that you had a diabolical plot behind your friendship with us, and that your diabolical plot was to not only to exterminate us, but it was to wipe us off the face of the earth. But I want to read this poem. It was wrote by our brother Jim Klingman, who was also one of our members of Mata. He said, if I should die on my way to freedom, at least I was on my way. At least I was on the road pushing against the winds of change and pushing against the grain, making my way towards freedom. At least each morning that God blessed me to awaken and put my feet on the floor, I stood up and stood tall and put one foot in front of the other and began that day once again on my way to freedom. At least I was on my way each day with my queen and my precious children around me, and each moment pressing towards the future in which they would finally be able to rest from our long and hollowing journey. I knew there would be no rest for me because I was on my way to freedom, and freedom is an uphill climb. But if I should die on my way to freedom, at least I was on my way. Unlike the children of Israel, unlike some of Harriet Tubman's freedom train, and unlike some brothers and sisters today, I am always determined to go forward. I was making my way to freedom and nothing would turn me around. At least I was standing, but never standing still. At least I was walking, but never looking back. At least I was running and never running in place. At least I was striving and never striving in vain. If I should die on my way to the sweet light of freedom, at least on the journey, the view changed every day. At least I met and loved my new brothers and sisters along the way. At least I preserved, pressed on, kept going, despite of daily roadblocks. At least I trusted God to make a way for me out of no way, as he always did, because he never fails. If I should die on my way to freedom, there's only one thing to ask. Put your arms of love around my queen and my children and keep going. Fill my space with someone strong and unafraid, someone who can chart new courses, someone who loves and trusts his people enough to continue on to freedom. If I should die on my way to freedom, whether I am leading or following, pass down the word, the line, distribute portions of my essence to my dear brothers and sisters, and tell them to keep going. Tell them I am watching them and that I love them. Tell them that the chain is not broken. It just got stuck for a little while as they're going through this tight space. Tell them what I told them, that we all had our family talks. Let's go get our freedom, the Mata rallying cry. And if I should die on my way to freedom, don't linger too long at my grave. Don't stay too long in your grief. Give those hugs and give that love, shed those tears, but dry your eyes and get back on the road to freedom. So you will be able to say, if I should die on my way to freedom, at least I was on my way. That was dedicated to Brother Ken Bridges. October 11th, when he passed in 2002, he was the unfortunate 10th victim of the Washington, D.C. sniper. And ironically, during that time when Europeans always can use their media to create the atmosphere for murder by telling us it's somebody on the loose that's going around and just committing mass murders and things like that, that there were a few other people that were part of the Mata movement that were killed. One of them, I believe, was the finance person, the person that was over their money, wound up being in their garage, dying of smoke inhalation, or what they call that carbon monoxide from sitting in a car. You know, that person worked so hard that they just went home in their garage, closed the door, left the car on, and mysteriously passed, right? And then also one of the major funders into the Mata movement wound up passing at that same time too. So we know what happened, and we know that this European is not beyond taking out all of the people who he feels that are a threat to him, because if that movement had reached the critical mass that he said, they would have had to have a force to be reckoned with. And see, the Temple of Mercy Association and Minister Raheem always say Operation Snatchback. And I don't understand if y'all know what that really looked like. It ain't just like you know, somebody throw something up. Now we used to throw the ball up and whoever catch it first or whatever, to snatch it out the air, that's the one that got it. Man, once we snatch this ball back, we're going to have to ball it up, hold it, defend it, fight for it, die for it, pass it around, hand it off, put it over here, put it over there, just to keep it in our hands again. Because trust and believe, every group of people survives off of their internal consumption of goods and services in their community, and they call that prosumption, meaning they produce what they're going to consume so they can determine how many people in their community are going to have jobs, how much income is going to come in, what money is going to be made, where we're going to direct it, how we're going to educate our community, how we're going to make our community safe, bring the resources and everything else that we need to become a community. We don't have that. There's no elected official that have a plan for us in our community that entails us getting back part of the market share. To continue to put us in business as fast as we going out of business is like saying, I'm going to knock down this tree, but my method for knocking it down is to just keep jumping up there, snatching leaves down. And once I snatch all the leaves down, the tree might look bare, but what's it going to do next season? It's going to grow some more leaves. And so every approach that we have in our community towards solving our challenges is always some Band-Aid approach that's not going to really get to the root of the problem. The Department of Human Services and the CDC says that $1 billion spent annually will create 50,000 jobs every year. Y'all don't think we spend that in our community? Show me one of our community that don't have at least 50,000 residents. Just pick one. Auburn, Gresham is close, Inglewood, North Lawndale, Roseland. We got multiple. We got about 20 communities in this city that have those type of numbers. So if $1 billion will create 50,000 jobs, then our first line of business ought to be, how do we take the 1.8 trillion that we just received, and how are we going to carve that out and circulate it back to ourselves versus it going out of our community within the next 4 hours? Because 98% of our money leave in 4 hours, and that's the time that you spend in the bank line, the currency exchange, or whatever it is, getting your money back so that you can cash it because it's already spent. Or is that just my family? And it's gone. But if we carve out and say, hey, we're going to take this much out of this 1.8 trillion and create these jobs, then those jobs will create other opportunities and other jobs if we create the right jobs. Not just jobs working for somebody else, but jobs working for us, where we are prosuming, we're manufacturing, producing. We take back our agriculture. We're growing our own food now. We can employ all of our people. Won't be no more crime in our community. Won't be no way for them to come drop off guns and drugs and our children fight over and kill each other over little bits of money. The drug game ain't nothing like it used to be, like I saw in the 90s. Them guys was walking around with some real money. These guys today, I'm like, dude, you know, you could probably make more getting a job. You out here risking life and limb for $50 a day. This ain't where it's at. Only because they can't count. Only because the education system didn't teach them how to read. School line to pipeline straight to prison. Because 90-something% of our children still reading on the 3rd grade level. And we still giving our children $5,000 birthday parties for having straight A's. Fool, didn't they just tell you that 90% of these kids is reading on the 3rd grade level? And you thought because they came home with the 4.2 grade point average, mine straight. Man, you better go get your children tested and see where they really at, because you're going to have your feelings hurt when you see what score they really deserve and what's really going on. And the teachers ain't going to buck the system because they need their job, because they just got their degree. They got their house note. They got their car note. They got their student loans. They not finna buck the system. I mean, I'm just gonna get my check. I mean, it's been going on all this time. I'm just 22. It's been going on 50 years. So I still gotta feed my family. I ain't wrong. They make the same rationalization that drug dealers make. Well, somebody gonna give them the drugs. Somebody gonna make them get high. It might as well be me. I ain't making them smoke the crack. I ain't making them die out for the fentanyl. So we rationalize wrongdoing because there's no moral standard in our community. And more than a moral standard, there's nobody to enforce the law. Jesus said, I came to fulfill the law, but when he came back, he was coming back with a sword dripping blood, because at that point, he wasn't fulfilling the law no more. He was enforcing the law. Like we got to start doing in our community. Ain't no way in the world babies, teenagers should be running through our community, giving our women and elders hell, and they can't get in their damn car and drive from home to the grocery store without fear of being carjacked. We ain't talking about some organized crime set. We ain't talking about some organized gang that's got thousands and thousands of members that if you say something against them, 1,000 people gonna show up on your block. We talking about 2 or 3 children running around terrorizing our neighborhood. I watched a little boy fly past me yesterday on 83rd in the day ran. He had 9 University of Chicago police chasing him. The car on this side hanging, on the back side hanging, tire flat, and he gone. Like he in Grand Theft Auto, down 83rd. And I'm talking about he laughing and smiling. 9 University of Chicago police behind him. High-speed chase right through the community. And he on a flat tire. I don't know if they caught him or not. He probably jumped out and ran away, and they didn't catch him in the neighborhood because half of them that rode past us was a little too big to be getting out chasing somebody. But there's no way that should be going on in our community. Nobody to stand up against that. See, a lot of people talk against it, but ain't nobody actually getting out there going to do nothing about it. The majority of the people scared to go out there and talk to our young people. That's why we got the original men in black. That's our duty and responsibility. That's our post. Send us out there. We'll go get our babies straight. We'll go sit our babies down and find out what's going on, where the ball got dropped, who dropped the ball, and we'll start filling in those holes and those spots in their life so we can help them get back to society and become a productive citizen again. And we ain't got no grant money to do it. So we're going to be there. It ain't like we're going to start and stop tomorrow because ain't nobody funding us to do this work. God has granted us the ability to do this work. And when God anoints you to do a work, you ain't got to worry about the rest of that stuff. You take care of his business, he'll take care of your business. That's how this movement operates and keep our doors open. The moment you all don't see any value in the things that we do no more, then our doors are closed. Because we depend on you to support the efforts and things that we're doing in our community to give our children alternatives to crime and drugs, alternative to delinquent behaviors. Because you can't expect to rebuild our communities without building the minds of the residents of the community to meet the responsibility of maintaining the community's image once you clean it up. Any of y'all ever cleaned y'all house? Right? Y'all know how when we used to grow up, we go in there, we do that good cleaning in the kitchen. You pull all the stuff off the shelves and pull out the linen paper. And you remember that, Sister Shirley? You clean it all out. You put the linen paper back and you put the plates back up there. They dry it off. They ain't got no water spots on them. You shine the silverware and you put it in a little drawer and you wrap it in a little cloth that grandmama had. Y'all remember doing that? Can you imagine doing that today and you ain't taught your children how to wash dishes and they got to go in there and share your kitchen with you, what it's going to look like? They're not going to keep it the way that you keep it because they haven't learned that. And that's the only thing that's wrong in our community. Nobody's taught our children anything, but we expect them to just have something called common sense. And I just want y'all to know common sense ain't so common today. Common sense ain't common today. Common sense is just out the window. Common sense is now relegated to how somebody feel, how I think, It's on me. I'm living my best life. I'm living my life on my own terms. There's no moral compass that can tell me how to dress. There's no moral compass that can tell me what time of night to be out and whether I should be by myself or not. It don't matter, brother minister, how I dress. Men should know how to control themselves. Okay, sister, but you do understand it's 3,900 registered sex offenders within a 5-mile radius of your house, don't you? Well, brother minister, I got this mace, I got this knife, and they better not run up on me. Well, sister, how about you just put on a few clothes and maybe cover up your adornments so maybe you won't influence them to think about you. Maybe that will help us to while we deal with helping them get their mind and everything back right so they can acclimate back to the community. Have you ever thought about that? No, because I'm living on my own terms. No moral authority, nobody to fulfill the law, nobody to enforce the law. I understand, minister, now why you keep saying the law got to come back. The law got to come back. Because we just out of order and don't want to admit it. Everything is not based on you. You don't get to decide no more. Everything is not subjective. Well, who do you want to be today, brother minister? I want to be sister so-and-so. I want to be identified as her. I had a little cousin get suspended from school because he got tired of the little boy changing every week what he wanted to be called. And he said, I'm not going to try to keep up with him. He wanted to be Christina this week, Chris the next week, this, that week. Hell, I'm just going to keep calling him Chris. And if it changed, oh, well, Chris. And he gets suspended for that. Because now when he want to be Christina and he don't call him Christina, he gets suspended because he's not respecting who he wants to be. What kind of madness is that? And they deploying all this stuff in our neighborhood. We got baby dolls now that's female that got phalluses. And they giving out to our children. And you know it's directed to us because the baby got dreads. When did y'all ever see babies with dreads? Babies ain't never had dreads. The hair always been the same. The only thing that ever changed was the color. Am I lying? Now you got a baby with a phallus now. That's a female. Or I'm sorry, whatever it is, I can't even tell. Because it looked like a female, but it got a phallus. So I don't know if it's a man supposed to be a woman or a woman that want to be a man. But it's whatever that child want to be. I was asking my children, tell me about the stuff y'all learning in school. I'm like, man, Lord have mercy. If we don't create some more of our schools, if we don't get behind thoughts like what Brother Umar trying to do and educate our own children, man, they're going to turn our children way out of something to something they're not supposed to be. So in my last couple of minutes, I just want to employ us to understand that the Temple of Mercy Association is an all-inclusive, Black conscious, righteous movement dedicated to the social and economic and spiritual survival of Black people in America. And part of that spiritual survival demands that we operate under a race-first philosophy, that we uphold a Black nationalist banner. And so as we welcome you to our organization, you don't have to be of a particular religion, a particular organization. We're just asking that whatever it is, you put the title Black on it so that we can identify who we are and whose we are and who we working on behalf of. Because we have a particular market that we want to deal with in our community. And that's our young youth and young adults that look like us. Because they're suffering more than any other ethnic group's youth in the world. And so we have a crisis going on in our community that don't require medicine. It don't require vaccination. All it requires is for the Black man and the Black woman to come back to their own, stand up and do what we know we supposed to do. So I leave you as I greeted you in the ancient but yet holy words of peace in the languages of our forefathers in Hotep, Assalamu alaikum, Shalom, and Jah Rastafari. Right now. Do I turn it back over to Ebony? Oh, video. That's what I thought. Oh, shit. I need to see another color. glad you went first. You put the energy in the atmosphere, because I just couldn't grab you. Oh, that's free. As fast as I can.
Oh, okay. He came to the open. When? Last week?
Mm-hmm.
I'm addressing the most melanated because our leadership always seems to be murdered, discredited, arrested, and in modern days, deflowered. We have to build black racism and anti-Semitism from amongst at will. We are establishing
That's what boy with
that will be modeled throughout the country. Declaration number 1. We do not apologize if we did nothing wrong. Unnecessary apologies for those truth. There's no boundaries like to sue others discomfort. Declaration number 2. Family business is family business. We all get our own systems to learn from us. Those arguments should be spoken behind closed doors. Number 3. We cannot be bought and paid for. Money talks. You're always understand. We ain't here to listen to it. The money has no history, no soul, and no deceiving will sell us out and whisper of a heartbeat just to get more food. Number 4. We do not vote if our needs are not promised to be addressed by said party. There's no longer a black vote at any political party can count, but the critical needs for our children, elderly, working men and women in our communities as a whole are not addressed. We ain't gonna vote. Number 5. Stay dangerous. A harmless man is a liability. A dangerous man is an asset. Number 6. Be creative. Creating lifts us up. Producing value is the path of prosperity for ourselves, our families, and our communities. Number 7 is prayer. You may feel that energy as someone's fear, but you utilize that energy and don't let it consume you. Breathe it in until it was fuel. Number 8, we will not support anything that is anti-black. Music that promotes degeneracy in the black community is anti-black and will no longer be supported. Number 9, fortify your home. We will live healthy lives. Exercise, nutrition, meditation, and prayer will be normal practices in each house. We will homeschool our children, but that's not an option. We will be in communication with law enforcement in our areas to start dialogue that should have started a long time ago. We ask it to be present in our communities. It's a must. Share this information. We all go in that every program and unfold.
No problem.
Greetings. I am back to close us out. Thank you so much for joining us for our weekly Sunday worship service. That's worship, WARSHIP. If you have enjoyed what you have heard today from our two speakers, Minister Aton and Minister Yashua Hakim Aton, please feel free to support us with a monetary donation on Cash App at TOMANATION. Once again, that's TOMANATION. Please share this video widely on your social media. Like, you should have gotten something from this lecture today because they both were on fire. And so if you would like to join us next Sunday, please feel free to join us right here live in Chicago, Illinois at 616 East 71st Street in the Grand Crossing community. I'll leave you as I greeted you when I started. Everybody, please stand to your feet and repeat after me. Raise your right fist in the air. Black power.
Black power.
Black power.
Black power.
Black power.
Black power.
Peace.
In the essence of the eternal divine spirit, the one that causes all that exists to exist, the one that is self-existent.
How many men have children and the children never meet their father? See, you created a void in that child because you are a part of that child.
Black power. Black power. Black power. Black power.